Here we go.
Too much of a good thing. Fair statement. My freshman year of college, I used to eat a buffalo chicken wrap, grab and go, every day until one day, about 2 months in, I bit into it, wanted to puke. Never again. I will never look at buffalo chicken the same way. But when it comes to media, there's a sentiment that I always thought was funny, and it is too much of a good thing. Specifically when it comes to a consistent good. Like, personally, yeah, I would love if my favorite things ended on a high note, and I think there's something powerful to knowing when to end. But if you're already a long-running thing, and you're consistently good, why act like suddenly it's gonna fall apart? Today, my friends, we're talking about the Batman Arkham series, a revolutionary franchise that not only rejuvenated the credence of licensed tie-in video games, but also single-handedly carried the Batman character and story throughout the 2010s, with a little help from Telltale. The Batman Arkham trilogy is one of my favorite in games. Growing up loving Batman and having to rely on my Batman fix in titles like The Rise of Sin-Tzu or the Batman Begins tie-in. Which, like, hey, if you take anything out of this video today, check out that Batman Begins game. Rocksteady really went to them and were like, hey, can we copy your home? We'll change it a bit, but, you know, like, can we get a little look? It was fun, but I never got far in them. In hindsight, it's probably because they were just subpar games. All that changed, though, in 2010 when I got my first next-gen console, an Xbox 360, and with it came a double pack of Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, Blue View Pinata, and God bless my mother because we walked out of that GameStop with Batman Arkham Asylum. Arkham Asylum was quite literally game-changing for me. It opened me up to loving a formula I didn't even know existed in games, what I refer to as 3D Metroidvanias. It was introduced to me here and is no doubt responsible for why I love games like Resident Evil 2 so much. There was a magic to Arkham Asylum. At the time, it felt like the pinnacle of video games. The graphics looked amazing, it was the same Batman voice I knew from Justice League Unlimited, Luke Skywalker was the Joker, combat was deliberately impactful, the detective mode was so immersive, and it had an edge that Batman is so good at having and keeping up. The lawyers kindly asked me not to ask Catwoman about Batman and edging. So I'm getting sick of Batman games. That has to be the headline that bothered me the most in the mid-2010s around the release of Arkham Knight. Sure, the story wrapped up in a great way, and according to pre-order campaigns, this was finally the game where we could be the Batman. But the Arkham formula is rock solid. It went on to set the template for other licensed games like Shadow of Mordor, Mad Max, and Insomniac's take on Spider-Man. And all of those games are good to great. What stings especially, though, is that clearly this sentiment struck a chord with WB, because we haven't had a new Batman game in 6 years. This is for having hot takes. How did Batman come into the games industry so defiantly plant a flag in making a good game first, then a good Batman story only just behind it, to lose its relevance and give its crown to a series like Spider-Man? And don't get me wrong, I love Spider-Man, but why can't we have both? I think if we are to understand the critiques and apparent reason why we get no more Batman games, we have to look at the common complaints about the series post-Arkham City. I have compiled 3. Number 1. Arkham Origins is just more Arkham City. Like, that's a bad thing. Batman Arkham City is one of the best games ever made, and one of the best Batman stories ever told. Like, sure, a new studio came in, used those bones, wasn't as well received, but Batman at Christmas time, please. Number 2. Too much Batmobile. And number 3. Arkham Knight's DLC clusterfuck. Yeah, this one I have no defense for. But hey, I hear the Season of Infamy DLC is sick. I haven't played it yet, but I'm excited to. And I'll deal with whatever Batmobile garbage they want to throw at me. You know why? We got no new Batman games. Yes, we're getting Gotham Knights, a game that seems to be leaning more into RPG than previous Batman titles, which personally, I'm really into. Running through Gotham as Robin while my friend is by my side as Nightwing is something I can't wait to play, but they kill Batman in a game that's about the Court of Owls, a relatively new addition to his roster, but one of his most interesting villains ever, and we only get the Bat family? It's cool, but it feels incomplete. Now, I'm not saying the internet's vocal hot takes about being over Batman games are the reason our upcoming DC projects are a Batman game with no Batman and a game where you're literally killing Batman and his co-workers. You know, maybe I am saying that. Video games and fandom has always been a bit reactionary, especially for annualized releases or games that have hyped up releases. The Zelda series is almost always course correction based off the reception of the last one. Wind Waker was too cartoony, Hot Topic Twilight Princess, Skyward Sword was too samey, Breath of the Wild redefines the genre and series. What I'm saying is video game discourse isn't new, but in a time where the conversation has shifted to hot take after hot take, there's a race to try and have an original idea before anyone else. It seems to have ramped up recently, so maybe this even started with Batman. By all accounts, the Arkham series went 4 for 4, but someone probably saw a world where the 5th Batman game was mid, and took the opportunity to write a killer think piece that got a ton of clicks. Batman Arkham is one of the 2010s and 2009 as well, but you know, semantics, greatest crowning achievements in terms of gaming. And it just stings and it hurts as a fan of these games and this character and this world to see that DC is ashamed or shunning that legacy. And the only answer we can really look at is the reception of getting over Batman games. So I think if we take away anything today, it should be to hot take more responsibly. So as of right now, I'm suggesting that we begin a new age of hot takes. So without further ado, I think Twilight Princess should be on Switch. Sonic Adventure 3 needs to happen. Donkey Kong 64 is actually pretty good. Metal Gear Solid 3 is a bad video game. Roxas is a better protagonist than Sora. Starfield should be great. Hot takes. That's a hot take. The hot take. Report. It's 38 hours. No signs of internet across the globe or our satellite backups. The wormhole's been closed for 20 minutes this cycle, and the last time we had to witness a full playthrough of Johnny, what was it? Huh? No, Donkey Kong 128 was yesterday. Sonic Adventure 3, sir. Wait, it's opening. What's going on? Sir, it's a Kingdom Hearts game where Roxas is the lead.
Now what do we do?
You know what? I really don't know.